Welcome back to the CoachIQ podcast. I am your host, Brandon Evans, a fellow training, business, and facility owner. Today we have John, Jeffus, and Regan Nolan, the co-founders of Futbol Factory out of Nashville, Tennessee. These two have built something super impressive. They've been developing soccer players since 2019. They own their own indoor facility. They've got a team of 8 coaches now, and Regan represented the U.S. Futsal national team even. John, Regan, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Absolutely. So, as I just mentioned, this is going to be a lot about your business and everything. But before we get into that, Regan, I have to ask about the U.S. Futsal national team. Walk me through that experience. What was that like?
Yeah, it was awesome. I was on 2 rosters, Colombia and Argentina. Traveled to Colombia and actually ended up breaking my ankle at Argentina team camp, so I didn't make it to Argentina. But Colombia was awesome. It was so cool to represent your country and all the pride that comes with that. Won all of our games, so that was huge. And our next thing for Futbol Factory is we actually started a futsal club.
Okay.
So I get to use all the things that I learned, and we're actually a U.S. Youth Futsal affiliated club. So that happened last week. So that was a really big deal
Nice.
for me.
Congratulations.
So now I get to share my love for futsal, which is really, really where my passion is. And I think it helps players grow on the soccer field, but also in a different perspective on the futsal court. So super excited and just excited to see where it goes and incorporate everything that I learned playing abroad into everything that we do here at Futbol Factory and
Nice.
Factory 5 Futsal.
Yeah, I'm a basketball guy. So what is the difference between, soccer and futsal or football, whatever. What's the difference?
Yeah, so, futsal is indoor on a basketball court. So it's 5v5, 4 field players and a goalkeeper. So obviously a lot smaller area, less numbers. So it's very fast. It's almost like basketball, just, playing soccer. It's very, very quick pace, up and back.
Timeout.
There's timeouts. Teams almost run plays like you do in basketball. So it's a completely different game to soccer. Obviously, a lot of the skills carry over to soccer, but there's a lot of skills in soccer that don't carry over into futsal. If that makes
Yeah.
sense.
So, it seems like a big operation. They have a U.S. team. Is it a growing sport? Is it like
I would
is it
say definitely growing in the US, in other South American countries and Europe, Barcelona, everyone knows who Barcelona is. They have a professional football team. So it's much bigger in Europe. Most kids will probably decide by the age of 10 if they're going to pursue soccer or futsal in Europe. Here, it's something they do in the winter just to get extra touches, and it's just a faster pace and smaller field, so you get a lot more touches than you would on a 11v11 soccer field. But I'm hoping one day, maybe it will be a college sport or something like that. But yeah, right now it's kind of a supplementary training aspect type thing.
Well, it sounds like you said, basketball version of soccer,
Yeah.
or soccer version of basketball, I should say. I was going to say, I think I would have fun with that. I can't do soccer because of all the running. That's just me. But no, that sounds really fun. I was just curious. I hear it and I see, some coaches offering it too on our platform. So I was super curious what it was. So, John, what about you? You correct me if I'm wrong, but you played D1 at Evansville, trained with Louisville City FC. What was your playing journey like, and how did that take you into what you're doing now?
Yeah, I was a goalkeeper, so kind of a different position than everybody else.
hmm
But the goalkeeper's job is to kind of know what everyone else is supposed to be doing and make sure
Yeah.
they're doing it. So that allowed me to learn a lot about everybody, all the other positions, and kind of transition into coaching really easily. I played Louisville City growing up, with the academy, and trained with the first team. And then went and played at Evansville Division One, and then played at Trevecca D2 here in Nashville. And then started coaching while I was at Trevecca, and we started Futbol Factory while I was still playing at Trevecca, and it's just kept on growing, and it's been a lot of fun to have that transition, and still
Mhm.
working on the transition out of player mode into coaching mode. But it's been a lot of fun, and definitely being a goalkeeper helped me a lot in that transition because that was kind of already my role, if that makes a bit of
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah. How long ago was it when you stopped playing? Like, when was your last year?
Last December, so just
Oh,
over a year ago.
oh, you definitely are still working through that then.
Yeah, yeah,
That's funny. I didn't know that. So yeah,
yeah.
you're fresh out of it.
I'm fresh out of it. Yeah, I still, I tell Reagan all the time. Like my toxic trait is I tell everybody like if someone offered me a spot, like I feel like give me a week and I'd be fine. I could jump back in, but yeah, that's probably not true, but I believe it.
It could be. You never know. That's funny. So you guys both, played at high levels. You had a lot of cool experiences. You're the first partnership duo that's been running a program that I've spoken to. How'd you guys meet, and when did you decide to start something as a group?
Well, we met in high school. We both grew up in Louisville, Kentucky. Um, Started dating in high school, and we are engaged, getting married in May. Um,
Congratulations.
kind of do everything together anyway. So, I thought why
Nice.
not go into business together? And Reagan started training kids when she was playing at Austin P in Clarksville. It's right outside of Nashville, and then I transferred and came to Trevecca, and was training some kids just for some extra money on the side while we were playing in college. And um, we just demand started to ramp up, and we're like, why not see what we can do with it?
Yeah, really cool. I want to dive in a little bit more to that because, like I said, every coach that I've spoken to, and obviously the large majority, is just independent. Of course, they have coaches underneath them working and everything, and like that's how I am. I run my own basketball training facility, but it's just me. So when you guys actually decided to go forward, start a business together, what did that feel like? Was there any hesitation, or was it just let's just do it?
No, I think it was definitely, let's just do it. I mean, we knew pretty early on that, we were gonna get married and be together, so there wasn't really any hesitation on that side, like, oh, what happens if, we break up or anything like that. So we weren't worried about that. But I think being together and having two people gives us, I think it adds a lot to us.
Yes.
We had a lot more ideas. We can, really have someone to kind of check what you're doing and what you're thinking, and obviously have the accountability of having a partner. No slacking off. The other can call
Mhm.
you out, and it brings a lot more ideas and innovation to it. When one has kind of sees a gap, we can really move on it. Where if it's one person, it's only what you got.
Yeah, no, I agree 100%. Like I said, I built my gym more or less by myself as far as the back end side of it. Of course, I had help with training and everything, but I can't imagine that feeling of having like somebody to just have that accountability, right? So that leads me into my next question. How do you divide responsibilities? Like Reagan, what do you do? John, what do you do? Is it different? Do you guys kind of collab on everything? How do you
I'm
divide
kind
things?
of like the idea. I come up with all the ideas. I do all the training plans, all the things like that for our coaching staff. And
Hmm.
John kind of implements it. Our coaching staff is all boys, so they would rather probably hear from him than me. If they're hearing from me, they're probably in trouble. But yeah, no, John does a great job of like he has handles all the sales, all the things like that. And then I'm more of just like the curriculum and what we're teaching, and John does the schedule. So I'm much more of the idea, random things, and John
Hey,
does the important things.
idea person is one of the most important people, if not the most important, in my opinion.
Yeah, I wouldn't have any new ideas if it was just me.
Awesome. Well, what do you disagree about? Is there anything that comes up that you constantly like have different opinions on?
Um, I think that obviously there's little disagreements here and there. I mean, I'd say most things that we're aligned on, but I think that's also one of the great blessings of having a partner
Mhm.
in this is that we can have those disagreements and really work through different problems that we're facing and what direction we want to go in. Again, if it's like for yourself, like nobody's going to tell you that's a stupid idea. Let's not do that. If I come up with
Yeah.
something and she looks at it, it's like, no, that's a terrible idea. We've definitely, I think, saved ourselves a lot of mistakes being
Hmm.
able to disagree on different things, and also improve ideas that we came up with. Where we were able to add on to each other's ideas and make them even better.
Yeah, it's very powerful having multiple people on board. Like I'll talk to my manager at the gym. He's kind of my right hand guy, and like he will tell me if an idea is stupid. Again, to your point, if I want to do it, like
You can
I
do
get the
it.
call, right?
Yeah.
Like so, I think it's very powerful to have two people combining on one goal. Because even when I added him on, it just having somebody to go back and forth with, even though like yes, I get the final call and everything. It's just it's a whole different ball game. I'm always a fan of having more people on deck, and you have a bunch of coaches too, which I do want to get into that. So let's talk about yeah, the actual business now. So talk about Futbol Factory. You started in 2019, right? Right before everything shut down. How did
Yeah.
you guys survive that?
So we kind of started out, obviously going through that was difficult for everybody.
Hmm.
I think the nice thing about coaching soccer is we got to be outside. Um, so the all the social distancing stuff and all that. Outside you can be 6 feet away from somebody, no problem. So we were able to work with that a little bit, and also we did a lot of at home training, which is I think been super helpful for us and allowed us to still work with players while everybody was kind of stuck inside.
Right. Awesome. And you didn't have a, did you have a facility then or no?
No, no.
Okay. When did you guys open your facility?
Just this last April.
Okay. Awesome.
So it's recent.
Awesome. Awesome. So walk me through that business model you have at your facility right now. So from everything I've seen, you have, private training, small groups, and you mentioned you have online training. Are you still implementing that at home? Now that you do have the indoor facility, how does everything fit together as far as your model goes?
Yeah, so we offer private and small group training. We kind of recommend privates for newer players that need kind of work on the basics, and then we kind of want to push everybody into groups just because we think groups are so powerful for the players
Hmm.
to work together and to
I
compete
agree.
with one another and be able to implement things in more game like scenarios rather than just by themselves. Um, so, we definitely push the groups for our more advanced players, but we still have our privates for players that really want to dive deep on their technical skills and kind of learning the technique side of the game.
Hmm.
And then we have our online training for some players do that work remotely, that are in different states. We've got some players that work with us online, and then some of our
Nice.
players also have online workout plans. So we have a athletic development coach who's on staff with us, so he does all of our online like weightlifting, strength, and speed programming through the app. And then we also, all of our members, private or small group, they all get access to an at-home like drill library where they can work on skills at home, on their days that they're not training with us.
Cool. Cool. So do you, as far as like when a parent comes in, they go to, do you offer a trial session?
Yeah.
Do you offer, okay, cool. Trial session's done. What does your packages look like? Do you offer memberships? Is it per workout? What does that look like?
Yeah, so we do all memberships, so they can do 3, 6, or 12 months of training.
Okay.
Um, they obviously choose private or small group. We've got a couple that do one of each a week, but all the memberships are one session every week, and again, either private or small group.
Okay. Simple. How, because I'm actually glad you structure it like this because I've been considering for my gym getting rid of all of our monthly, like month to month subscriptions. How has Do you get parents that give you pushback, like, "Oh, I can't commit to 3 months"? How do you handle that 3-month minimum commitment?
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely some that push back on it, and
Yeah,
nobody else really does that. So it's something that they've never seen before.
right.
But also, most parents, when I explain why we do it, I think it makes a lot of sense to them. So I always tell them like, you're gonna get something out of 4 sessions, but not that much. It's there's only so much that we have to build the groundwork, and it's like compound interest. Like, it's going to stack over time, and the longer you keep training and the longer you're in this environment, the more results you're going to see. And
Hmm.
with 1 month, like, you've already got 1 foot out the door. So we that's why we require at least 3 months,
Yeah.
because you're giving us the time to really work with them and really make a difference. And it's obviously a benefit to us. We keep you guys around longer. Obviously, you're going to pay more for 3 months, but it's also a benefit to the players and to the families, because you're going to get a lot better in 3 months versus if you only come for 1 month. You'll get a little bit better, but there's only so much we can do with 4 hours.
Right. I mean, I agree. That's why I said I'm even thinking about it for mine because, you see kids come into our gym. It doesn't happen, all the time, but come in for a month, they come in for a couple workouts, and then they're like, "Hey, coach, can I cancel?" It's like we didn't have any time to develop that relationship with the family or the kid. The kid really, again, like they may have gotten a little bit better, but it's really tough 1 month. Like if we want to work with somebody, we want to learn them, we want to dive into them, we want to be able to actually help them improve. And every kid that's come to our gym, and I'm sure your facility as well, if they come for 3+ months and more than that, they will be a different version of themselves than when they came in. So I think it's important, but it's hard to take the leap, you know? Like that's why I've always offered monthly is like, oh yeah, it's flexible, blah, blah, blah. But at the same time, it's like, are we here? I want to get kids better, right? And of course, business wise, it's good for the business too. Uh, Now, do you have them pay that number in full, or do you have is it set up monthly? How does that look like?
Yeah, so they can pay monthly, or if they pay up front, they get 10% off.
Yeah, okay. Awesome. That's what I was thinking. I think it's a good a good both ways. If you can afford it, you can. If you can't, it's fine. Um, so an interesting thing that I saw on your website was you position yourself, your marketing as supplemental technical training that doesn't conflict with club soccer. So for basketball as well, and I'm sure football and other sports, that travel scene or the club scene is so overwhelming on the kids. How do you navigate your relationship with club coaches?
Yeah, we're lucky. Like, we've been able to have connections with all the clubs and have gotten along with them all really well. They know that we're not a threat to them. We're
Right.
just trying to make their players better. So there's not really any reason for them to come after us or anything. I mean,
Hmm.
we've both made it very clear anytime we've talked to anybody, like, we have no desire to become a club and deal with playing time and all that. We're simply here to just train kids and help them get better. So I think that it's been great that the clubs don't see us as a threat. They just know that we're out here to help the players just like they are, and we've gotten along really well with all of them.
Nice. Yeah. And end of the day, that's what it is. Like you guys both have your own lanes. It's fine. Like there's no bad blood. Do you have any stronger relationships with clubs? Like I know for me, we have a couple call 'em partnerships if you want, but we give their kids a really slight discount if they come from certain clubs. Do you have any relationships like that?
No, because to the same thing, like, it's with any sport in any area. Like, there's obviously club rivalries, and we really want to be a place for everybody.
Hmm.
So we know that if we align ourselves with one club and offer them discounts, the other clubs are gonna start looking around like, oh, that's a
Hmm.
place for only that club to go to. So, we've really tried and made a conscious effort to stay really club neutral and be the same across the board.
Yeah, 100%. End of the day, that's important because, like you said, like I said with mine, like we give them like super tiny discounts. It's not like we broadcast it. We don't do anything like that. We believe in the programs and be like their coaches. So, but again, if we broadcasted it like, oh, if you're this program, you can come here and get a discount. Now all of a sudden everybody's going to look at you and they're like, oh, they're a trainer of this program, right? And obviously that's not what you want, because if you're training everybody. So, you opened up your facility recently, and we already talked about when that happened. It's like, Reagan, did that change your programming and what you guys worked on? Did you have to change anything with that? So walk me through that.
Definitely, because we made a huge shift into group training just because it's way easier to say, hey, everyone show up at the same place versus
Oh
like,
yeah,
come at this park and we'll do a group training and hope you can find us there with all the busy people. So we had a huge emphasis on everyone switching over to group training, one, for the availability of the facility to maximize the space and honestly like get our money's worth of it. Um, and then as far as like switching over, our like warm-ups were different because we had a different size space, our technical work was different, and just trying to make sure that the same awesome training that they got in individual training at the parks were also implemented into the group training. So that was probably the biggest shift, is just like making sure that everything fit into the space that we had, just because first of all, Nashville real estate is so expensive. So
yeah, I
what
can
we could
imagine.
afford was like, a decent sized space to definitely get a good training session in, but nothing like a full size field. So just making sure that everything that we had planned and we had done prior fit into the space.
Yeah, yeah. So let's dive into that just a little bit. We've been talking a lot about business and everything, but I am curious because I see you developed like a name for it, Futbol Factory Method. From a lot of trainers just train. Like I have my gym, we'll call it Pro Standard Development System. So you documented yours like mine. Do parents, what's the feedback on that? Do you get feedback? What does that look like, that method?
Yeah, I mean, I think that the whole US soccer system has changed a lot from like kids are required to train outside of training now to continue to improve just basic skills of like passing, receiving, foot skills, all
Yeah.
the things. Like that is not taught at clubs anymore because they're expected to do it outside of training. So our emphasis is huge on technical work and just simple things like that. Because once you do the simple things right, everything else is easy. So just a huge emphasis on technical work, passing, receiving, technique, everything that has to do with that, just because that's not taught at the club level anymore because it's just expected. So when you get to club practice, they want to work on how to become a good team, not to be how to become a good soccer player.
Yeah. Yeah, it's same thing in the basketball world. It's all kids have to do stuff outside. You're not going to get better at your team practice. I've had that rant many times. Um, so you do monthly testing to track improvement, right? And that's just a part of everything you do. What do you test, and how do you implement that and show parents progress? Do you do it? I know you guys use CoachIQ. Do you do it through CoachIQ? Do you use something else? Is it just in person?
Yeah, so it's something that I created, just tests that I thought are important and something that kind of has that tests every part of your game and really shines a light on what you need to improve on. So majority of it is technical work, just like we work on in practice, and that's a really good selling point for Futbol Factory. Is like, hey, look how much better from month one to month three
Right.
your child has gotten at just how many one touch passes can he get in 30 seconds without losing control and chasing it all over the field. So still definitely a work in progress on the testing part, but people love it. I mean, something that they don't have at the club level that you don't see, just something a little extra that's like, wow, I really need to improve on this. And I think a lot of it attests to like our private training. It helps us know what they really need to improve on. And then it's like, instead of just doing group and or group by itself, then they do group and private to improve what they've needed to get better at in the testing areas.
Yeah, I mean, that's why I wanted to ask about it. I thought it was really cool having that testing aspect, because I have some good friends in the sports performance world, and like they're testing like naturally, like, oh, how fast did you get? Did you get faster this month? Can you jump higher? All that stuff. I think it's really cool, and I think it's something that parents love. And I mean, you said it's a big selling point because you can literally see like, well, they got better, right? So I
Yes.
think it's very cool and something that people can implement into their business somehow. I personally don't have that right now, but I would love to. So I was just curious on how you did that.
Yeah. And we
So,
give them like a player card, which is like a FIFA player card, which they
oh
all
yeah,
love. It's like
That's
something that
cool.
they have, they show all their friends, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, where did you do that?" And at Futbol Factory.
That's really cool. How do you get those made?
I made them. I make them on Canva.
Okay. And they
Yeah,
just is it like the print through Canva or order through
yeah.
Canva?
It's just a PDF, and then they can do whatever they want with it.
Very cool. Awesome. I might steal that.
Please.
Um, so I'll credit you. So you guys have, we said 8 coaches now. That's a pretty big team. I think that's one bigger than what I have right now. Like I said, most trainers we talk to are solo or just starting to hire. How are you finding your coaches? What do you look for? What does your staff look like?
Yeah, so our first ever hire, obviously we started while I was still playing in college. So our first ever hire was one of my teammates.
Okay.
Um, so that obviously was an easy one, and we've got um, 4 of the guys that are on our team I played with. Um, One of them is still playing, and the other ones are all done as well. So that's obviously been a great source of coaches, just
Hmm.
because I knew them really well and already had great relationships with them and knew they were good guys that knew the game. The other ones, we found one that's been with us the longest. Got him off LinkedIn, job posting on LinkedIn. Another one off of job posting on Indeed. So, just kind of like I guess, basic job sites,
Yeah.
nothing crazy.
Yeah, and I think it's important for coaches that are looking to hire to look like you did within your inner circle of people because people whether you've known them for forever or just a couple years, like them, they're not just a random person. And not saying there's anything wrong with that. Like I've hired people that I didn't know before, but if you can bring people in within your circle, you can trust them on day one. You know the type of person they are. You know the reason they're in it. So that's a very important and powerful way to find coaches is just to ask people you know. And I always when I'm talking to people that ask me about this, like I'm looking for character first. I'm interested to hear your perspective on that. I look for the person first because I believe at least that you can teach all the coaching stuff. You can get better. You can learn the different ways to teach groups. You can learn all that stuff like I did. I used to be super shy, quiet. I didn't know how to like lead a group or anything. So I always look for character first, person first, and yeah, I'm curious to hear your thoughts on that. Do you have something specific you're looking for when somebody comes in, aside from obviously, soccer knowledge?
Yeah, for sure. Like you said, like their character is the most important thing. Not only just are they a good person or not, but also like are they reliable? Can I
Hmm.
trust them? Because that's the whole point of hiring employees is that we can trust them to take things off our hands. Obviously mainly training, but you can't have somebody that you don't trust running your training sessions because that's your name and your reputation that you've given to them to basically do with it what they want.
Yeah,
So you have to be able to trust them. Obviously, you got to know that they're a good person. They're not going to do anything that's going to, again, tarnish your reputation. And then just the reliability. And like you said, like a lot of the coaching things can be taught. A basic game knowledge and, you know, all the guys that I played with, I knew they were all really good players, which, helped a lot. But there was definitely some learning curve on how to translate that from I can do that myself to being
yeah,
able to teach it to a kid that can't do it.
yeah,
So a lot of that's taught, and we do a long like coaches training process before they start running their own sessions, which I think they've all really enjoyed and has helped them a lot translate their playing knowledge into coaching. So that's definitely a huge part of our hiring process is we're not hiring you the first time I talk to you. Like it's a long hiring process, and then after you are hired, it's a long training process before you're actually running sessions.
yeah. What is just a short version of that? What is that training process to get them able to run a first session? You don't have to explain the whole thing, but what's just a quick version?
Yeah, so they'll do a couple, like probably a week or two of, depending on how many hours they're able to put in those weeks, but they'll do a couple sessions where they're purely there just watching training. They're there on the field watching our coaches that have, you know, obviously have already run sessions and are, running sessions. They're there watching, just soaking it all in. Then they'll start to kind of get involved in the sessions, kind of almost not as a player, but kind of doing the actions and really being integrated into it. And then we'll start having them take like a drill or two on their own where they're leading it, and our coach is there to assist them if they need and kind of give them some pointers. And then the
Mhm.
final process is they're going to run some sessions completely by themselves with us watching, making sure it all goes well. There if they need it, but really trying not to step in at all and just observe them, make sure it all goes good. Then we can answer questions, give them some pointers, and then we'll do like a final session where it's completely them. It's kind of like their test.
Yeah.
And if it all goes well, then they're past the training process and they're good to go.
Yeah, that's a really smooth flow. That is to a T exactly what I do in my gym. So it's naturally just for a coach trying to learn and on board. I think it's the best way to do it because you get to watch, then you just slowly get comfortable. You allow yourself to find your voice, and eventually, you get that full session. And I just think it's the best way to do it personally.
Yeah.
So I'm glad we agree on that. So I want to circle back to something here. You guys have online training as well. Um, what all is included in that? Do you have, your film sessions? Do you have coaching calls? What all is included in your online training?
So for our, I guess it's so we have our drill library that all of our members get access to.
Hmm.
Um, that's more on them to use as as they want. And our committed players that see great results are the ones that do that on top of obviously coming to training.
Yeah.
Um, and so when they do that, they do submit like their scores and how well they did in each drill so that they can track their progress and we can see it on our end as well. Their progress when they're doing those drills at home. And then obviously through the CoachIQ platform and our app, they're able to send us videos of them doing the training if they want pointers and want coaching tips and stuff like that. So that one is obviously with our in-person members that that's extra training if they want it. With
Hmm.
our fully online, um, yeah, we send them a personalized like training plan with drills for them to do at home, stuff like that. They send in videos of them doing it so we can coach over it and give them coaching points. Um, and then they're uploading scores of what they're doing so that we can track their progress, with real numbers and really show where we need the improvement. And then we'll also do a call, usually twice a month, sometimes only once a month, just checking in, kind of redoing the training plan, just to
Hmm.
keep updating it and keep them on track. And then we'll they'll send us not full games, but also like every touch videos of their games, and we can coach over it and do film sessions like that.
Yeah. And what is the response you get for the online training side? I'm always interested to hear. Is it popular? Is it, just kind of here and there? What is that response like to offering online training?
The players that do it have really loved it. It's not something that we push a lot. Obviously
Hmm.
we're focused on our facility and trying to grow our in-person side. But the players that we've worked with have really, really enjoyed it, and I think gotten a lot out of it. So I think it's more on our side. We haven't really pushed into the marketing and really gotten it out there yet because it's still something that is a work in progress for us and
Yeah.
figuring out how to really make the most of it and also scale it.
Yeah, we're at the same spot with that. Um, I think it can be something down the line, but focus on the gym, the place you got to pay rent at.
Yeah.
So you mentioned you did that through CoachIQ. I see your site is also on CoachIQ. Do you use CoachIQ to manage everything? Walk me through how you use CoachIQ because there's, a million different ways you can use it.
Yeah, so we really use CoachIQ as our member facing stuff. We integrate it with Go High Level. That's where I do kind of all the lead inbound and
Same.
talking with the new leads. And, our Go High Level is like my work phone number. So if people need to, have a question for me, that's where they text me. But once they become a member, they're almost exclusively texting with us through the CoachIQ phone number and stuff like that. And then that's where all of the payments go through, the calendar, and all the forms, all of the online training, all of that stuff is done through CoachIQ.
Yeah, we have very, very similar workflows with everything we do. Like I'll use Go High Level for all the lead stuff, and then once they become members in the gym, I'm like, all right, you text us through this number now. So that's funny. We have very similar workflows. You're saying exactly what I do. So awesome. Last couple questions. What is next for you guys? Where do you want to be in the next year or two?
Yeah, so we are currently looking to open another facility.
Okay.
Our first one is slightly north of Nashville, and so we're looking to add one slightly south of Nashville, an area called Franklin, which is where we live. So our current one is like 45 minutes, 50 minutes away from our house.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's a bit of a drive, but that's where a lot of our players were at that time when we opened
Hmm.
it. So we opened one up there, and now we're looking to add one south to Nashville. So just been touring a lot of warehouses and trying to find the right place for us.
Yeah, awesome. Well, second facility already. First of all, congratulations. It's awesome. Um, so last question I got for you. For trainers listening who are thinking about joining together on a business venture with a partner, I would love to hear from both of you to see if there's any differing answers here. What is the number one thing that you would tell them if they're considering that?
You first.
Probably don't do it with your husband because that's all you'll talk about. But number one thing, that was a joke, but number one thing would be probably don't give up. I feel like there's a lot of competition that you see, like, people at the park, things like that. Like, there's plenty of players for everyone to have their own successful business and just focus on you, find things that set you apart, and just do your best every day.
Yeah, and as far as having a partner in it, like just make sure that you really got to remember that you guys are on the same team and push in the same direction. And when you have differing ideas and can get into conflict about what you think is the right direction, like always you got to remember that you both are doing and have the best interest of the business and the players in mind, and know that you guys are both on the same team, and just gotta
Have the same goals.
just have the same goals, and
Yeah.
be all right.
Really cool. Well, John, Reagan, thanks for coming on. This was a blast. Talked about the partnership, the facility, the method, the team you've built. There's a lot here for trainers to learn from, whether they be soccer or basketball or football or whatever else. Where can people find Futbol Factory?
Um, Futbol Factory TN for Tennessee on Instagram and Facebook and
TikTok.
TikTok and Twitter and anywhere. It's pretty much all the same.
Nice. Awesome. Well, we'll put all of those links down there in the description of this. Go follow Futbol Factory. John, Reagan, follow them too. If you're in the Nashville area and you're looking for soccer training, these are your guys. Thank you for listening. All right, guys. It was fun having you on. Really enjoyed it. Uh, if we should have this, I'd say, out in the next month and a half, 2 months ish. We got a decent little backlog, but we're posting everything weekly now, so we should be rolling through them pretty quick. Well, cool.
Sounds good.
Yep. All right, guys. I appreciate your time. That was really fun. I enjoyed it.
Yep,
Yeah.
us too. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Awesome. Have a good rest of your day now.